You know what I'm low-key concerned about or nervous about? When I reach another milestone in my life, something that's big, like getting engaged or having my first baby. You know how life changes like that for you and your friends? I feel like I'm gonna lose. I feel like I'm gonna lose friendships in my engagement process, and even when I have my first kid, because life changes and people change. And sometimes you hear about the stories where women get engaged or they're on their way to getting married in the process of to the wedding, and they lose out close friendships. Friendships that have probably lasted all of their life, and then out of the blue, their most cherished friend is gone out the picture for whatever reason. It's just sad to me. And I'm like, why are we finding it so difficult to celebrate other women, especially the women closest to us, the ones in our lives, the ones that we fellowship with, the ones that we work with, things like that, the ones that are in our industry doing the same thing that we're doing? Oh, but there's that little thing in the back of our minds that kind of reminds us that we are only significant if we're the ones on top, if we're the only ones doing this thing on our own. And to me, that is problematic thinking. But I want to talk about this because I think it's important for us to share our thoughts and feelings of what it means to support other women, to support our sisters, and to feel supported. I've been on both sides of the spectrum. Like, I've been in places in my life where I felt like I was supported by my sisters or the women in my life. And there are times where I felt competitive jealousy and consider myself less than somebody else because I was comparing myself way too much. But in this week's episode, I'm going to speak directly to the ladies. We have to really get to the point where we truly, genuinely celebrate each other's wins. I want to share my thoughts on this topic and how women could get rid of the competitive jealousy and truly embrace where they are in their journey in life, wherever God has them. This is your host, Tatiana Greene, and you're listening to Journey Through 30. There's so many different angles to go about this, but for the most part, I want to talk about the wins and why we don't celebrate the wins more often. When I have a win, I want to be supported. I want to be congratulated. I don't want to think about, oh, did so and so like my post? Did they like my milestone? Or are they truly supporting me? You know, they have these memes and these statuses and these quotes out here that give you warnings about people like, oh, beware the people who don't clap for you, or watch out when you tell someone bad news, and check their body language and all that stuff. Like, we're always on edge, on defense, always thinking like someone's out to get us. This paranoia thing is not a good look for us women. It brings us stress and it adds wrinkles to our face. We're over 30, we can't be doing this. If you have a major win in your life, whether it be publishing a book, getting engaged, getting married, having a baby, getting a new job, moving across the country, moving to another country, something amazing, achieving your degree, you know, it could be anything. And you consider the people in your life. Have you ever felt that you didn't get the support that you thought you would? I know what that feels like, and it sucks. It's a really sucky feeling because you feel like you had this person or these people in your life for so long, and you know that they know of your journey and how long it took for you to get to this point, and yet you're here, you're actually winning finally, and they're not there for you the way you need them to be. Even a simple, like, just showing up, you know, supporting your business or whatever the case may be. We have this feeling like it's just not there because for whatever reason, the person that we were relying on for support was feeling some kind of way. So I'm getting back to the Cardi B thing. Cardi B, I don't know Cardi B like that. All I know is that she came out with that one song this year and she did amazing, and she's on her glow up, and kudos to her for that. And kudos to her for getting engaged. Like, that's going to be an amazing thing if she goes through with actually getting married to this man. Getting engaged is different from getting married, let's be clear. But I think a lot of people in the blog post that I was reading who feel some kind of way about her getting engaged before them, even though they've done all the quote unquote right things as a woman of God, you got to question like your motives here for what it is that you want to achieve. It may not be a man, or it may not be engagement, it may not be marriage, it may not be a job, it may be something else like a position or achieving some other goal that you always wanted, but the person in your proximate vicinity or in your industry or in your community has done it before you, and now you're like, man, that was the only thing I had to hold on to. That was the one thing that I was putting my value, my worth, my identity in, and they took it from me. They took that opportunity to shine from me. Listen, ladies, there's enough space at the table. There's enough room for us to shine. The sun is just that big that we can all experience the heat and the glow and the benefits of being in the sunlight. So we all have the opportunity to glow up at different times. Just as we experience the sunlight at different times of the day, someone in Asia is going to feel the sun, the same sun, but at a different time. It's all about timing. God set it up that way. We have to think about how we as individuals are going to embrace our current journey, our lane, if you will, and walk this thing out without getting distracted and looking at other people and what they're doing. So one of my questions is, why is it so hard to celebrate other women's wins? I think, like I said, we can get distracted with what other people are doing and comparing ourselves to them. I think I'm going to do an episode specifically on comparison because it's such a big issue in our society today that affects not only women but men as well. But when it comes to women, we are often pitted against each other in so many different ways, from relationship standpoints to careers to child rearing and things like that. There's nothing new under the sun, as we see this happens in the Bible a few times. You see it with Hannah and Peninnah. You see it with Leah and Rachel. You even see a little bit of it, if you look at it in an interesting context, Mary and Martha. So I wonder, how come we have women who are often pitted against each other? What is this thing that keeps us from really celebrating the other woman and embracing and finding contentment in the season we're in? Because guess what? God's going to bless you with the thing that you desire, even if it's something that you have gotten last. The last shall be first, the word says. So why are you worried that you didn't get what you wanted before somebody else? That feeling that you're not getting what you want, that you're feeling like you're left out and overlooked, like God loves you. He's not overlooking you. He's preparing you, and he wants you to have the right motives going into the thing that you want. And he wants you to consider what it is you want. So to put things in perspective, let's say that it is about in a relationship or is about engagement. So your best friend gets married or they get engaged, and you feel some kind of way because you've been doing this the right way for so long. You've been going to church, you've been serving, you've been trying to be a woman of God, you're holding it down, you're trying to save yourself for marriage, and you're well over 30, you're trying to work this thing out, and you're getting impatient because of all these circumstances, that we as women face. And then your friend who just got saved, they get engaged like the next year and they're on their way to marriage, and you're just looking like, what happened? Like, why is this happening? I'm pretty sure this story is not something that's just made up. I'm sure this is someone's testimony. I want you to know that if you are the woman who has a hard time celebrating other women when it comes to their news, their good news, their upgrades, their glow up moments, on those very things that you want yourself, you need to check your heart and see where that's coming from. Because if you're jealous of that other person, how can you really be open to receive what God has for you? Because you're steady focused on what somebody else has. You don't really know everyone's full story. Everybody's got personal issues and things that we're keeping on the inside. The conversations that we have with God in our private time are the things that are to that specific woman's journey. You honestly are not going to know every little thing that they went through to get to where they are. Same thing with Cardi B, same thing with all these other people that are out in the public eye that look like they're achieving what we would like to call goals. We don't know everything. We don't know what they have to deal with. We don't know what the consequences of their actions are. We don't know what's going to be on the other side of this good news. Because best believe they're going to be tried and tested. We have to understand that our journeys will be different. There's nothing that you can do that's going to make your story go quicker, or you skip a chapter, or you go ahead of this person, or you be next in line. That's why I don't sweat it when I go to weddings and they have to throw the bouquet. I'm like, it's cute. If I really like the flowers, I'm going to go catch the bouquet. But I never was pressured or felt like I needed to go to that thing in a wedding, because it's like, what does that mean? Does that mean I automatically meet a man and then we get married? Like, no. Like, some of us who are single, like single, are going to that thing because we want to be that next one in line. We want to be that next bride who gets all the attention, who gets the man, who gets the ring, who gets the party, and gets the merit. But we don't know when God is going to truly make us ready or reveal us to our spouse who will be ready. In your journey, you really want to enjoy every process, every step of the process. The process is not easy, but I think the more we understand that we need to embrace it and enjoy it, the more we'll have peace about it when we come into conflict, when we have moments where we have to look at our hearts and check ourselves, when we hear some good news that we should be celebrating, but we low-key hating. I want to celebrate people because we don't have enough love out here. And that's real. Like, there's so many people who are struggling to find love, struggling to be loved, struggling to give love the way God is told us all to give love. But when a couple genuinely loves God and they love each other, it's something to celebrate. I love to see that because you don't see enough of it. So when I was talking about the former ladies in the Bible, the Hannahs and the Paniahs, the Marthas and the Marys, the Rachels and the Leahs, we often see examples of women who were kind of pitted against each other. There was one adversary and one person who was feeling like the victim. But we need to have a strong support for each other as women, so we can all shine and we can all win. All of us are not the same. We don't have the same views. We don't have the same talents. We don't have the same gifts. And even if we do, we have unique variations of those things. So why can't you celebrate your sister who has a promotion in the field that you're in? You can get the same thing if you are doing your work to make sure that you get to that point. You can even get something better. But if you focus on another person's victories and what they have, and not understand what they've been through to get to that point, you're going to end up losing. In essence, you want to support other women. You want to be there for them. You want to support them emotionally, physically, even on social media. That's why I have the Facebook page for Journey Through 30, because I want to share other women's journeys. It's not just about me and what I'm going through. I'm sharing other women's experiences because we all have different experiences. I'm a single woman in my early 30s. My experience in life may be totally different from a mother who's in her late 30s. You know what I mean? So we all have something to do. We all have a space in God's plan. We all have time that He's going to reveal the next thing for us specifically. He's not overlooked you. He's not forgotten you. He's not forsaken you. He didn't put you on a shelf. He's not done blessing you. He's preparing you. He's covering you. He's teaching you. He's pruning you. He's getting you together for something that you prayed for a long time ago. You can't let up on the idea that you are blessed, that you are favored, that you are covered. He didn't forget you, and He won't do something for someone else and leave you with that desire if He's the one who put that desire on inside of you. We didn't wake up in we didn't wake up when we were born and just decide to want to be married, that's a desire that God gives us because He has a bigger purpose than our selfish reasons to get married at times. Most of the time, He gives us the desire because He has a plan for us for marriage. This is for women who desire to be married anyway. So if you have that desire and you're still struggling with the idea of being single, and you see other people in your life, on your social media timeline, in your news feed, that are getting married before you, and you feel like you've done everything you could do to pretty much achieve that quote unquote goal in life, I want you to be still and know that He is God. One of the songs that I like right now is by Travis Greene, Be Still, from his new album. Be still and know that He is God. Like, it's Bible, and it's such a peaceful song that you have to really just focus back on all of this, all the source of your joy and your contentment. It's in the Lord. And so if you find yourself comparing yourself to other people and wanting what they want, and you know you want the same thing, but you want it ahead of them, or you want it right after them, or whatever the case may be, find out why you need to just rush so much. Why do you need to compete? Why do you need to feel like you have to size yourself up to other people? You are wonderfully, fearfully, beautifully made by the same God who made them. He made them unique. He made you unique. You are different. You are special. And you have a purpose and you have a plan. I can say that when it comes to these relationships in women's lives, we need to, as much as we need to support each other, we need to have more examples of Naomi's and Ruth. In the book of Ruth, Naomi was Ruth's mother-in-law. When she lost her husband, Ruth had the option to go back to where she came from before she got married, or to go to this new land with her mother-in-law of her late husband. She decided to support her mother-in-law, and in turn, Naomi poured into Ruth and helped her, prepare her, and teach her to be who she needed to be for Boaz. So if we have women in our life who are going to support us, to pour into us, to not compete with us, I mean, they were at different age levels, but at the same time, they were both widows. They both had different needs. They were both women. They both needed love. They both needed attention. They both needed things, you know? So if we have women in our life who can support us, even when they don't have the same things that we have, with just a simple emotional support, mental support, physical support, it can mean a lot. And when you take the time to celebrate other people's wins, you're setting yourself up for when you win. Because you'll have people there to shout you out, to celebrate you, to support you. Because when you need that support after the win, all the fanfare has died down, you got to get back to the grind. You have a new level that you're at, and you're going to need your core people to be by your side. So you have options here. You can discern and see who's around you, who's for you, who's not for you. You also had the option to check your heart or not, regarding how you want to go about living your life. Are you going to celebrate other people, or are you going to just wallow in jealousy and competitiveness? Don't be afraid to put other women on, because that's something we all need to know. Like, hey, if I have something that you need, I should be willing to help you out, because I didn't always know this thing. And you should want to be a blessing to someone else too. When you sow that seed, it comes back to you. You want to sow seeds that are going to open up doors and opportunities for you later in the future. So it's not about competition. It's not about not giving that person what they need. It's more so sowing a seed, being a good steward of the gift that you have. Listen, you're not going to get knocked off the top, especially if that's where you're supposed to be. And therefore, you just keep going, you keep pushing. At the end of the day, ladies, I really want you to think about this. How am I celebrating the women in my life? In fact, I want you to answer this question in the comments below. How are you celebrating the women in your life, in your circle, in your group of friends, people you may even be friends with in your head via social media? How are you celebrating their wins? How are you supporting them, period? And things like that. Now, I want you to be a big support for me because I think it's important that we share this information and get this message out to more women that we need each other. We need to press towards the mark. We need to be there for one another in whatever way that we can to encourage each other, because sometimes you get discouraged in your journey towards success, towards marriage, towards whatever goal that you are setting out to go achieve. I really would like your support by subscribing to the channel, and make sure you share and like and comment, because that helps this channel thrive. Also, if you haven't already, please check out my book, Journey to 30, A Single Woman's Guide to Living Unapologetically Without Deadlines. I'm supporting other women in the book, and I have their information in the back of the book where you can connect with them, where you can support their businesses, where you can support their ministries and their platforms and get in touch with them. That was a huge thing for me. I didn't want to just interview these women, put them in the book, and then just make it about myself. I wanted to share their stories because their stories are important, and someone needs to hear that. Someone needs to know that they're not alone in this thing called life, and that they have something to look forward to. So you need to have a list of resources that you can share with other people. Don't be afraid to put them on. I hope you enjoy this new episode and that you enjoy your journey in whatever it is that you're doing, in whatever stage you're at. Don't be discouraged by other people's wins, but celebrate them, because you too will have your turn to shine. All right, this is your host, Tatiana Greene, and you've been listening to Journey Through